my boy up in Utah, the one that's married, and he's Hispanic. And I had asked him before I'm getting ready to publish this picture on my door hanger that shows me with 4 of my children. I asked him, I said, would you be okay if I use this picture? There's a lot of folks out there that for some reason find me to be racist.
Right.
And I think that it's important that they see some of the diversity that's in our family. And he said, Dad, you have to quash that because that is nonsense. The last thing that you are is racist. We've got every kind of ethnicity that a person could possibly imagine in our family. And people need to see us for who we are. And so it meant a lot to me to have his support.
Was your first wife Hispanic? Or is he?
That's part of my life I'm not necessarily proud of is I've made some bad choices when it came to relationships, and I've been married a couple of times.
Don't beat yourself up over that one. That's a common theme.
I have a daughter from a Puerto Rican wife.
Okay.
And then my last wife is Hispanic. She's well, let me back up. She's part Spanish, part Apache.
Oh, okay.
By default, that makes her Latin. Yeah. But she doesn't necessarily prefer to be called that. My oldest boy that I have with her is Hispanic. My youngest daughter, the one that's 17, she's adopted.
Okay.
And she's half black.
So you had 7 kids and then adopted an 8th?
I've got 4 biological children, 2 adopted children, and 2 stepchildren.
Okay, well, there'd be no one better qualified to work on a school board than that, because that's the gamut. I mean, that's really hard. It's hard when you have your own kids, and it's hard when you have a couple. Then you keep adding 2 by 2 by 2, and then add in other people's children.
Right.
That are now your own, obviously. I mean, you kind of covered the bases there on fatherhood. It sounds like they're all doing really well. They're all happy, healthy, and they sound like
they're going through the challenges that children go through.
Sure.
But fortunately, they're all coming out on the other side, and they're all reaching that point of maturity now where we can have conversations about choices that they've made and woulda, coulda, shouldas. And let's pull ourselves up and now make good choices moving forward and go like that. And it's funny how you say, 8 children with that kind of diversity of how you come up with them, how much more qualified could you be? I've actually had people tell me, what right do I have to run for the school board without any children in the district? I graduated from Deer Valley High School back in the 80s. And
You've been around for 40 plus years here in Arizona.
Yep. Mm-hmm. My wife has lived in the same school district for 40 years. I've been gone and traveled for work and followed things around, but I've got 2 of my boys that went to Berry Goldwater. My wife went to Deer Valley, and my family, I'm a 4th generation Arizonan.
Right.
So I'm not sure exactly how much more qualified. I mean, I've been a Little League coach, I've been a Pop Warner coach, I've been a Scoutmaster. I can herd cats with the best of them.
Yes.
So I think that I've got a pretty unique perspective on children and
management
and what they're really capable of. And I think that's something that's really missing in our educational forums today, is that we handicap our children. They're capable of so much more than we allow them to do and to experience.
True.
And we're trying to protect them from everything, and unfortunately that's not realistic. That doesn't really allow them to grow.
The bubble wrap.
Yes.
Sometimes have to come. I know, I'm a big bubble wrapper. My kids are like, Mom, let us do this. Like, we're gonna do, my kids tell me, Mom, we're gonna make mistakes. Like, it's okay. I'm like, I know, I just want to avoid the big ones. Like, just let me just protect you for a couple more years. Once you're over 18 and you make them, it's kind of more on you, and then you will learn to deal with it. But I just really don't want them to make any mistakes, to tell you the truth, because I only have 2.
Save you the mileage.
You have more to work with. So, like, you make a mistake here, you get it right, 6 or 7 more times. I only got 2 shots. But so I want to talk to you too, and we appreciate that. I want to say too, we appreciate that you've been here your life, and that you're translating that to helping our kids. I've only been here 23 or 24 years, so my school district days back in Oregon where I grew up, I mean, our counselors and our principals, like, they were friends with our parents, and like, I can't get my principal on the phone to save my life, honestly. And teachers, forget it. They don't even have websites on anymore. They took all the websites down for the teachers on the DVUSD site. I can't even get a teacher. Well, a couple of them. I won't say that. There are a couple really good teachers. So Mr. Donovan, you were an excellent history teacher last year. He would text me and be like, if he wants to have extra credit, he could just make up the assignment and turn it back in, like that. So we do have good teachers. Let's not.
We've got amazing
let's not
teachers.
say that we don't, because we do.
It's just
Sometimes
a few
it's
ruining
system,
it for the majority.
And it's a system thing. The system comes in from outside and then kind of ruins things inside. So I do want to hit on a little bit because all these attacks I've just recently read and saw some things about that. You and I were at the Veterans Memorial Monument. We were up in Anthem last week.
Correct.
We had a kind of a citizen neighborhood call from a friend who said some groups were assembling in the park.
Mm-hmm.
We have a beautiful monument to our veterans that was built by a resident of Anthem, if you didn't know.
I did not know that.
Oh my gosh, a lady, yes, she engineered it. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
It's on my website. You guys have to check it out. And Antifa BLM group types, I don't know per se, they were them, were going to march. And they did,
Mm-hmm.
but MCSO, our sheriff, they moved them off. So a bunch of people who lived there went up just to make sure they didn't do anything to harm the monument.
Right.
Paint or whatever they were going to do. And they didn't. MCSO kept it very peaceful. Yep. We got to meet a bunch of neighbors. I got to talk to a lot of people.
It was an amazing evening.
It was actually really cool, right? So we all hung out for about 5.5 hours, chit-chatting really.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that I saw online, Paul Carver, blah, 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 and they put a picture with like red eyes, and I don't know. What's that all about?
So I'm very patriotic. I served my country in the United States Marine Corps, and my oath of service never expires. I like to remind that often to everybody. And in my search to try to do what's right and to defend the Constitution and to help my neighbors and community prepare for any number of things that we've started seeing up to just the last few years with all the riots and people being attacked in the streets for no apparent reason other than they just had a different belief system. I tried to find organizations that were like-minded that I could partner with to help defend the Constitution. I wasn't looking to start fights. I wasn't looking to be aggressive in any manner, shape, or form because I truly believe that we all have a lot of things in common. There's just some really flammable topics out there that people are unwilling to look past so that we can communicate. And in so doing, to answer your question, I searched out the 3 percenters, which a lot of people equate them to be a terrorist organization.
Yeah, tell me about them, because I just heard it the other day when I read about you. Who are they?
So the 3 percenters, there are many different groups that call themselves the 3 percenters, even here in the state of Arizona. Some of them are very well organized, some of them not so well organized. And the 3 percenters are a group of people that believe that only 3% of the population of the colonies led the uprising against the British.
Okay.
And so 3 percenters consider themselves to be very patriotic. And they are well-formed organizations, 501c3s, LLCs, the whole shebang. And I was named as the agent for the 3 percenters here in the state of Arizona with the Arizona Corporation Commission. So if you did a public record search for my name, I came up. I am no longer the listed agent.
Okay.
I'm no longer connected to the organization. My focus needed to be on this and running for school board. And I had been associated with them for a while and tried to help some of the people out that were in the organization. They're known as a paramilitary organization because they believe in teaching people self-defense.
Right.
And like I said, it's a defensive organization. If you read their mission statement, it tells you that we defend the Constitution. We're not an aggressor. And during my time in, I tried to teach people how to be community activists, how to get involved in their local precincts and their legislative districts, become educated, participate in their school board meetings. And so I believe that I've hit a few nerves with people that aren't like-minded with me ideologically. And so they're trying to find things that are flammable, that tug at people's heartstrings.
Right. And
so we end up with accusations of being a racist. We end up with accusations of being a white supremacist by being default 3 percenter, and to belong to a terrorist organization, again, 3 percenter. 3 percenters are not on the terror watch list. I have no reason to do that in my country. I love my country.
You served your country.
I served my country. I wrote a blank check for my life for this country.
That's right.
And fortunately, they didn't cash it while I was in the Marine Corps. But so anyway, that's where that comes from. And what bothers me and actually hurts me, because I'm a very emotional person, which is odd for being a Marine, but it actually hurts me that they say that, because nobody's taken the opportunity to have a conversation with me.
Right.
Nobody's called me, like the teachers union here in the state of Arizona found out that I was endorsed by America PAC. I shouldn't use the word endorsed, supported by.
Okay.
And when they found that out, they came out and they published a list of people that folks should not support. And I was on that list. And I thought,
wait, the district?
I was on the teachers union.
The teachers union.
Teachers union, right? One of the unions here that the teachers belong to published a list of folks that they didn't want their members to vote for. And I was on that list, and I looked at my wife. I said, it's really aggravating because these people claim to be public servants. They're teachers, for heaven's sakes. And instead of being educated and calling me up and saying, hey, would you mind having an open, honest conversation? What do you plan on doing when you're in there? You're making a lot of noise. They don't do that. They just publish these lists. Yeah, and it's really sad because I try to make myself available to everybody. Now, full disclosure, Secular Arizona had a forum, and they invited everybody that filled out a statement of interest in the Deer Valley School District. After doing some research as to what Secular Arizona stood for, I couldn't with a clear conscience participate in their forum because they are anti-Christian, and they are almost violently pro-choice, which it's your First Amendment right. You believe what you want to believe, but I didn't see where it was going to be a beneficial forum. I felt like it was going to be a beat up on Paul forum because I was going to be the only conservative to show up.
Yeah, so right. So they needed somebody to counterbalance.
Yeah. And I didn't do it, and shame on me because I want to be a bigger person than that, but I'm also hopeful that other people are capable of being better than what they're going to be, and I didn't see it happening.
And I don't know that you have to necessarily really address everyone. It's not, if they're a group so hardened by their own beliefs, and you're not going to sway them.
Right.
They might learn something for sure, but I can see where it might not be a valuable time to spend there.
The return on investment wasn't.
Yeah, and you definitely don't want to be the punching bag for.
Right. I can do that anywhere. I don't need to do it there.
So we were talking about support. So I know Jan DeBoscus, you said supports you.
Yes.
So I do appreciate Jan. I've met her around town, and she's had me to her house for some events. Fantastic person. I find her to be very genuine, so I'm glad to hear that she is in your camp. Also, don't know Josh Barnett very well. I've met him a few times. He's actually going to join me here next week, and I'll get to know him a little bit more.
Good man.
But I've talked to him just briefly, and he's a very soft-spoken gentleman, like yourself, which is a little opposite of your appearance. You and Josh are kind of like, studs. We used to say studs. That's probably not a word anymore.
It's not politically correct. No, you can't say that.
Studs. Like, it's not a wall stud either. It's studs. That's what you call them. So, because I'm still big on the whole man-woman thing and the strong man. Like, I'm still appreciative of that whole
appreciate that.
thing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Just tell your wife just very like low key though. Nothing, nothing to worry about here. Arizona Christian Patriots.
Yes.
So I'm familiar with their site. I see them on Facebook. I don't know much about their organization.
Correct.
But that's a great group to have behind you. And Arizona Women of Action, Kim Miller, I am very familiar with. Met her 7-8 months ago. Wonderful organization. They do a lot in the Valley, a lot of education.
Right.
And so they're fantastic to have in your camp too. I'm glad to see that you have some wind beneath your wings. And how is the campaign going, and where are we at? So you got your signatures in.
Yep.
You're not, nobody's voting on you till November 3rd. So what happens between now and then?